Hi Aquarius, I hope that you're all doing well. This reading is going to be about what you need to know for the next 10 days. We're starting off first with Nine of Cups. Impressive. We have Nine of Cups and we also have Six of Wands. Nine of Cups is about what you want. It is the wish fulfillment card, and having Six of Wands, this is a card of success. It's a card of, I just went through something and I ended up coming out on top. It is that card of victory as well. So this looks very much like something that you wanted comes to fruition, something has gone your way. And the beauty of the Nine of Cups is that this is something that we want deeply within our hearts. This is something that's really going to resonate with us on an internal level. But when we have that Nine of Cups, it can be, we can know that we want something, but we don't know whether that's going to happen or not. Having this Six of Wands feels like this is saying that this thing that you want there's like an accomplishment around it, like you secure that thing, or you had to go through some type of battle and then finally you cross the finish line and that was what you wanted. That thing that you want is there. I feel almost like you may have had to like fight for this, or you had to work for this, or there was something where there had to be an exertion of energy, because Six of Wands does indicate that. When you have wands, it's something that you have to put your energy towards. So you have to put effort towards it. You have to put energy into it. And then having this Nine of Cups here, this is about putting your energy towards something that you want and then having a successful outcome. This means too that you're motivated for the right reasons as well. Yeah, I'm seeing justice here. You get what you give. This definitely feels like a moment where you've been doing your thing and you really do see the return of this. This feels like some type of the energy and the work and the effort and the motivation. This can even feel like a tireless energy, like I've been giving and giving and giving to this and like staying motivated or trying to stay on top of this or trying to do what I can here because this is what I want. This is what I want to be doing. This is what my heart is calling me towards. Because Nine of Cups is that deeper wisdom of experience that we want to have and what we know calls to us. And so it's that this is my dream, I'm not going to give up on it, or I want this thing so very much that it's worth it to me to be putting in this energy and putting in this effort. And when we have the Six of Wands, it shows like, wow, you did it, you've been successful with it. And then having that justice there can feel like it wasn't for nothing. Having justice there shows that, like, look what happens when you put in that energy. Look what happens when you put in that work. Look what happens when you believe in yourself, when you trust in yourself, when you're doing this because this is what you want to be doing, because this is what resonates with you, because this is what brings you joy. And this also, too, feels like an internally motivated thing that then you behave in a certain way because of that. Because the fire is connected with your self-expression. So this means like, I'm doing this because this is a dream of mine, or I'm doing this because I care about it, or I'm doing this because it makes me happy. And then seeing that you're successful because that's what's motivating you. This is an internally motivated thing. So this is one of those times when, because it's internally motivated, like it matters to you, and so when you get that W, you feel really good inside because it feels fulfilling to you. This isn't one of those things where you're distracted by stuff externally and then you're trying to accomplish stuff and it's never enough. When you're motivated by the Nine of Cups, when you actually achieve that thing, it does feel like it's enough because it's internally motivated. It's like spiritually motivated that we do that. It's motivated on a soul level. Regardless of what things you have to work through, because Six of Wands, even though you see that end result of something being successful, you know that you had to battle to do this, or you had to put in energy to do this, or you had to fight for it, or you had to show up and work things out in order to make this happen. And then having Justice there feels like you seeing that when that is what motivates you, and when that is what you're putting in work for, that the universe comes through and basically pays up. And so that's what you're seeing here. This is something motivated by a very pure heart space as well. That you got far enough inside and deep enough inside of yourself and your heart space to ask, like, what do I really want here? What am I really wishing for? What am I dreaming for? What am I hoping to cultivate here? That will feel like it gives me an answer that I need, or answer some type of calling that I'm experiencing. What lights me up? And then to be motivated by that and to see your efforts be successful, and that life really is here supporting you. It can be a moment that feels very confirmational. That there is a right order to things even. This looks like some type of struggle is over now, because I'm definitely seeing that you've been through it. The way that this Ten of Swords is coming out, looking at the image on the picture, all of the swords actually go up the spine, and this is kind of feeling like a bit of a Kundalini awakening to me. Maybe there's something going on with your energy, like something being lit up even, or something rising up, or something becoming empowered. It feels like your own energy though, like there's some type of release even that's happening. Having this Ten of Swords could have felt like something that was holding you down before, where you could have felt like even out of touch with yourself, or out of touch with your manifesting abilities, or maybe like you weren't functioning the way that you needed to function, or there could have been something going on mentally, because we have air here. Could have been something that you were like very much caught up within that needed to be worked out. This even feels like something that there needed to be a coming to terms. This can be an ending that needed to complete as well. Yeah, we have the Magician coming out. Speaking of manifestations, what this means is that if you were still stuck on something, there needed to be a closing out of that process and a working out, because you had to get to a point where there was this clearing necessary. Because what this means is that the stuff that's no longer, if you're doing something and you're motivated by what you want internally, like what is going on in your heart space and what that is saying to you, when you are motivated by things on the contrary, that stuff is closing out because you recognize that it's not aligned with what you're in touch with now. And so it's actually very much necessary for this stuff to be cleared out, even though endings can be painful, endings can be difficult, closing out the energy can be hard, even when we know that's the best thing for us, or even when we know something isn't in alignment anymore. And it feels like this has allowed for the clearing out, so you're really in touch with your heart space now. And that also means that like mentally you're on the same page. Having Nine of Cups connect with the Magician, this is really getting in touch with, if there are no limitations at all, what is your heart saying to you if there's no confinement anymore? And then the Magician is you mentally being on the same page with that as well. And having Justice above the Magician shows that there is a purity a pure understanding of what your values are and what you're manifesting as a reflection of those values that you have become aware of, and what has to fall away because now that you're aware of your values, what has to fall away because those things are not aligned with that. And that's what this process has been about working out. So there's the falling away of the stuff that's not aligned because you are coming into alignment now. And that means too, the stuff that you manifest and the things that you experience will feel balanced. But before, when there's a lack of familiarity with your values and you can be signing on for things that there's not that balance within it, there's not that symbiosis within it, we can always feel like we're not getting what we need. Like something's always off and we're always like looking for something, or like unhappy or feeling unsettled, or just like something not feeling right, or maybe that thing's better over there. There's sort of the drifting around that happens. This feels like a big awareness of very important values, ones that you can look at and feel you want to be living by these values now. And then also too, having just this connect with the Magician shows that there's a balance between the heart and the mind. So you're not just doing this from an intellectual, unfeeling place. And you're not just doing this from a hopeful, ungrounded, this is in my imagination, but then it's not realistic. This is the merging of both of those energies. And that's also why it's very powerful too. Because the parts of yourself that have needs that are showing up and wanting something that can sort of feed the mouths of all of those energies, that's the level that you're on now. And it has not been easy to get here. And it seems very much like you are en route at this point. And you're opening up into a new chapter. I get the feeling too from everything that I'm seeing that this took a lot of adjustment. It took a lot of realizing. It took a lot of even like painful stuff that you had to go through, or just things where there was a lot of, wherever your mind was warped, having to basically like reset the value of everything to bring it back to this space. And now what you manifest from here, you will find that it is enough, that it actually feels like there's balance within it, that the scales are balanced, there's equality within it. So you won't feel that resentment, or you won't feel that it's not enough. It will feel like it is very much enough. And what you want. But this definitely had to be concluded. You had to arrive at this conclusion, and you kind of have arrived at this conclusion by going through what felt like the opposite of what you wanted and the opposite of what your values are. And all of it shaped you to get to this point. Or more so even unshaped things. One of the more difficult pieces of this feels like the letting go. Of when you know it's not right anymore, when you know it's not the answer anymore, when you've come to that realization, doing the actual letting go when that time comes. That does feel like a vibe with Saturn here. I'm seeing the World at the bottom of the deck. That is one of the lessons of Saturn, is knowing when something needs to be released. Not carrying anything unnecessary with you. I'm hearing Free Falling. That's a song. That may not be the name, it's probably not the name of it, but I'm hearing that. I don't know what song that is, but it's coming through. Okay, So, Eight of Cups is going to be that recognition of what needs to be allowed, what needs to be released, what needs to be let go of, what not to cling to anymore because it's not aligned. So, there's this awareness of, if I'm not feeling this, it means that it's not aligned anymore. It means it's giving context to what is part of my journey, what is in resonance with my journey, and what is not. After the Eight of Cups, we shift into Knight of Wands, and what this means is that there's a feeling of excitement that's building. There's a feeling of focus that's building. And where this excitement comes from is the feeling that I'm going to be stepping into something that feels worth my time, that feels worth my energy, that feels worth my effort. This is actually something that I want to be doing. I'm not doing this out of necessity. I'm not doing this out of fear. I'm doing this out of love within my heart, out of devotion to the journey of my soul. And honoring myself and honoring my nature, as our values are exactly that. Part of the system coding that we have to work with. So what I'm seeing is, with Eight of Cups, this is the letting go, this is the shedding, and having that Six of Wands shows that there is success within that aspect of the process as well, and that this actually gives you ample opportunity now to be experiencing what you want. When you let go of what you don't want anymore, when you release that, it makes room for what you do want. Like, simple as that. It really is. So you give yourself a chance now. That you get to taste, that you get to experience that sense of reciprocity that you've been wanting and looking for and searching for and hoping but weren't experiencing before, and now you can. And so now it feels like there's actually a motivation to move forward, a motivation to get going, a motivation to embrace this next chapter because of this feeling within you that what you're doing is in resonance. That's really it. This means too having to get to that point where there was a weighing process that had to happen. Am I supposed to be holding on to this? Am I not supposed to be holding on to that? Is that worth it to me? Is it not? Is this something that feels nourishing to me? Is this something that feels draining to me? Am I doing this out of fear? Am I doing this out of excitement? Having to go through that whole process. And now being at this point where there is a conjunction I'm hearing. So that's what I'm seeing going on here. We have Mercury and we have Libra here. This can definitely be associated with the astrology currently. What this can mean is that you're going to be partnering with new energies as well that will also be part of this too. It can feel like spiritual contracts. It can be actual literal contracts with Mercury and Libra. Definitely can be like you actually signing things and whatnot, or signing on to things. It can be new partnerships, new collaborations. Can be with people, can be with businesses, can be with jobs, lots of different things. Like whatever this is for you going on here. The coming to terms with what needs to be let go of and what needs to end and conclude is worth it, because the trade-off is that then you experience what you want and that feeling fulfilling. Because if we're holding on to what's not really cutting it, it's just taking up space and not allowing us to experience what is in actual resonance with us. And that is our choice when it comes to what we hold on to, what we decide is worth keeping versus what we allow to leave, and what we're actively participating in. This feels like too, figuring out the stuff that was blocking you from taking action, what was blocking you from your courage, what was blocking you from your focus, what was blocking you from your ambition, having to work through that. And it feels like something that was going on mentally that needed to be addressed here. Like you could have felt like there were mental blocks that needed to be worked through in order to make this happen. Like you needed to resolve something, maybe some things, to allow yourself to now manifest this. And what the experience will be now that you've gotten to this point is that what now aligns, you will see that what manifests now after this point, well, like at this point and beyond, you will see, because there is this familiarity, this knowledge, this awareness of what it takes when you are now familiar with what you bring to the scales, and because of that you know what needs to be, what will balance on the other end. If you know the weight of what you're bringing, you'll know before you enter into something, if I take what's on the table over there and add it to the other side of the scale, will it be balanced or not? And this feels like something that you're doing now because you know what you're bringing. And so you'll be able to understand the relationship and what it feels like when things are being weighed on those scales now. And this feels too like, because of this awareness and knowing what you bring to the scales, it looks like sizing up the stuff that you had going on that you were still holding on to and putting it on the scale and really seeing for yourself, oh, that's why I feel the way that I've been feeling. Other things not pulling their energetic weight, and that doesn't mean it's bad, it doesn't mean it's wrong, it just means incompatible. So in becoming more familiar with your own values, it allows you to understand the relationship between that and what's going to be on the other end of the scale and how they balance each other out or don't. So some very divine wisdom, self-awareness, self-knowledge, standards, the stuff that you are building within your life. The roles that you're playing, the stuff that you feel like this is an actual investment of mine versus I'm just doing this and I can't really build with it. It's like every other day it gets blown away and you feel like you're not really, like nothing's really happening. This is going to make that difference for you, because this is stuff that you'll like what you're doing and you'll like what you're building and you'll want to keep building on top of that. There will be that motivation to really do that. Where there can just be more of this stuff that you do like and that does resonate with you, and that's the type of building that you are the architect of. Off to a great start, I'm seeing here. All right, my friends, we're going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.